Shabbat Shalom. This week, for the first time in a couple of weeks, we have a single Torah portion instead of a double Torah portion. This week, our parasha is Parashat Emor. Parashat Emor is known for two things in particular. The first are the many rules which are given to the priests, which regulate all kinds of issues of purity. The second thing that's well known about Parashat Emor is that there is a list of holidays which are read on some of the holidays that we observe even to this day. So that festival calendar is found towards the end of the Torah portion. One of the laws that is well known with regard to the priests in Parashat Emor is the restrictions upon mourning. According to the Torah, a Kohen, a priest, is not allowed to defile himself for the dead, except for in the case of immediate family members, that being mother, father, brother, unmarried sister, or God forbid, a son or a daughter. And that is why when you go to a cemetery, often you will see Kohanim either standing on the road or standing outside the cemetery, or at a funeral home, often you'll see them standing outside, or if the rabbi happens to be a Kohen, you might see him or her standing outside of the funeral home or outside of the cemetery. That's so that they don't come in direct contact with the deceased. And one can imagine that this sort of lends a little bit of an elite status. You know, there are the Kohanim standing outside. But as someone who himself is a Kohen, I know that this is not always a sign of elite status, but sometimes can be quite painful. It's not always someone who we're mourning for who is one of those immediate family members where we have an exception. It could be a family member who's a little bit more distant, an aunt or an uncle or a cousin. It may also be a very dear friend, and to not be allowed to mourn in the traditional way is a difficult thing. And this is something, of course, that we see today in the period of COVID-19 when we're not able to mourn or go to the cemetery. Sometimes funerals are just one or two people and a rabbi. Sometimes the rabbi can't even be there and has to Zoom in. We know that it's a very difficult matter. Many adjustments have been made over the years to allow for different ways for the priests to be able to mourn, visiting a Shiva home and so forth, so that they have their opportunity to not only show their respects, but also to find a way to deal with their own sense of loss. This week at Bethel, the Heights Synagogue, we are observing the yahrzeits of Sarah Friedman, Bernard Century, Edith Pickus, Sarah Rivka Herzig, Yevgenia Probst, Sylvia M. Levine, Stanley Donald Stone, Ethel Eisman, Jacob Gutterman, Shmuel Ben Zavel HaKohen, Jerome Wachter, and Samuel Herman Katz. Wishing you all Shabbat Shalom.